Hi lovelies, and welcome back to this corner of the internet. I'm your girl Saphrae, and today we are continuing our Saph Steam Shop series on Crazy Taxi. So at this point in time, we have surpassed the 2.5 hour mark, so it is time to do another cheeky little assessment together. This assessment is going to be specifically talking about the user friendliness of the game at this point in time. So there are a few different things that I have noticed in the little bit of time I have played on Steam, because as y'all would have known from my first video, I do have a little bit of bias because I grew up playing this on the Dreamcast itself. Definitely a different experience, but nonetheless, let's load up the game, talk about a few things, and give our overall rating for it. Alright, so as you can see, we are in the Crazy Taxi game itself now. So the first thing that I wanted to talk about when we're thinking about user friendliness is their controls. So if we're thinking about keyboard mouse, this is the situation here. Honestly, after playing just one round, it was really easy for me to learn these and be able to use them without, needing to refer back to the control system or anything. Like, it felt very seamless. I will say that I'm sure some of that is part of the fact that I did mainly grow up playing keyboard mouse games, so it's what I'm most familiar with. It's what I find easiest to navigate and learn. But I kind of like that most of the controls are condensed between Q, W, E, A, S, D, and then you just have the direction keys after that. I like that they're kind of clumped like that. It doesn't feel awkward for your hands. But the one thing I will say about controls, and this goes, I think it'll end up transferring the same way for controller as well, but just because we are referring to this specific control chart at the moment, I will say confirm destination. I haven't found that to be a useful thing. I haven't even found that key to work, frankly. Because once you drive into the circle to pick up a customer and you break in that circle, that destination is already confirmed. You're already on your way there, so I actually don't know why there is an A button. I don't know what the confirm destination button does because I haven't seen it work for me in my gameplay. As soon as I break in that circle, that destination is confirmed. I really don't understand the point of it. Maybe as I play more of the game, I will understand it, but that's one thing that I will critique about it, I suppose. But that is the control situation for the keyboard and mouse. I also have my controller hooked up so we can look at that again. So this is a controller setup. If you're using Xbox, obviously it'll be a little bit different if you're using PlayStation, but I am an Xbox girly, sorry y'all. But if you want to get me a PS5, I mean, I'll give it a go. Besides the point. So these are the controls, and I had the same situation where I kept pressing X and nothing would happen. So yeah, I just really don't understand the control or confirm destination button. I do think that the other buttons are laid out pretty effectively as well. One thing, actually I take that back. I don't love that switching gears is an A and B situation. I do wish that switching the gears between drive and reverse was actually an RB and an LB situation. I do have to, keep in mind that this game was made for Dreamcast. It was not made originally to be used with an Xbox controller, so they're doing the best they can with this being a game that I am playing ultimately through Steam, but that is one thing that I wish was a little bit different about the controls, to make the controls on controller feel a bit more natural to me personally. Again, these are with my own biases, but I think it's important still to note. Then aside from that, one thing I wanted to talk about and go back to is the game modes. I think that arcade and original both are very easy to pick up on. At the end of the day, you're driving, you're picking up customers, you're dropping them off, and you're moving on with your day. But Crazy Box, I can't get past level 1. Activity 1. I cannot. I can't get past Crazy Jump. I don't get it. I don't know how to do it. I don't know how to do it, and it makes me really sad, okay? I'm going to be honest here, coming back in here. This is the first time I noticed that I haven't pressed the advice button. So that's probably more of a user error than a user-friendly thing. However, without advice, I can't get past the first level. So take that as you will. I think it'll be something that hopefully by the next update I can at least comment on the fact, whether or not this advice section really was helpful for me personally. But oof, yeah, not great. Not great that I didn't notice, but also not great that I can't go past a level 1 action 1 without advice. Oh my goodness. So hopefully I'll be able to figure this out. But that is for the next video, I suppose. And I guess the only other thing, if we are circling back to arcade and original for a second, I don't always love the way that the arrows work. I do think that sometimes they are very misleading, and you can find yourself in situations where you are so genuinely stuck that it is completely not recoverable. Like, there's absolutely no way you can reach your destination at that point, and it is because you solely have to rely on this arrow that isn't always in, working in your best interest. So I do think that that's a little bit unideal. But then again, as you learn the maps, I think that you don't need to rely on those arrows as much, or you will understand that sometimes you'll be driving in a direction the arrow thinks is wrong and is pointing to be wrong, but actually ultimately gets you to the destination in the fastest way, being mindful of the map's layouts. So I think that that's something that isn't super user-friendly at first, but isn't a hindrance as you play more of the game. But those are my general comments in terms of if it is or is not user-friendly, at least for the first little bit. And with that in mind, we have to move on to what are we going to rate it out of 10 in terms of user friendliness. And I kind of went back and forth on this for a little while because I do have biases. This is not the original system that we're supposed to be playing this on, so I have to keep those in mind. Some games I don't pick up on as fast as others. But I do have a lot of comfort in this. So there are so many different factors here. But if we go down to the actual critiques, is it user friendly in the first 2.5 hours? For all intents and purposes, yes, you can drive, you can figure things out, but when you really want to enjoy the game in its fullness, I don't think it's as user-friendly at the 2.5 hour mark, based on the things that I mentioned, like just the crazy box being currently virtually impossible for me to figure out, the arrows sometimes misleading you, having a pointless button. Truly at this point in time, I can't figure out that confirm destination button. So I think that with all that, I will give it a 7. I think a 7 is fair because I can still play it, I can still enjoy it, but there are things that are preventing me from enjoying it at its max capacity. So I'm going to give it a 7 out of 10 for user friendliness, and we'll see how we feel once we reach our next little milestone, our next little benchmark. But with all of that being said, that is all for this episode of the Saph's Steam Shop series for Crazy Taxi. This is part 2. Hopefully I'll see y'all in part 3. In the meantime, feel free to like, comment, and subscribe down below. I really appreciate y'all spending some time on this corner of the internet. Maybe what you can do is comment down below what game you'd like me to do this with next, because this is the first game that we're doing this series with. Y'all chose this one. Why not get the next one ready to go, y'all? But I post long form videos every Friday at 10 a.m. EST, so stick around for that. I also post shorts throughout the week, so multiple ways to see me throughout the week, and I also stream on Twitch. So, I'm sure I'll see you around, but thank you for being here in the meantime, and yeah, that's all for this one. Bye, y'all!